am rolling.
I haven't been on camera. Okay, hi there.
Hi there. I'm sitting here with Jim Hayhurst Sr. of Notoriety Trails Youth Initiatives. I want to thank you for being such a positive force in my daughter Micah's life. You really changed her life with trails.
Wow.
You really did. And I want to ask you about your life and what brought this joy and this passion to pass it on to young people. Tell me about your bliss.
I'm not sure I've ever been asked that question before. I'm not sure what the answer is. I know that I used to be in the advertising business and I sold it. And as I say in the book Blazing Trails, I had 4 experiences which were really pivotal in telling me what I wanted to do. I think the key was I tried to figure out what my definition of success was. Mm-hmm. And I finally concluded that my definition of success would be if one person's life was a little better because I wandered through, then I'd be a success. And that kind of became a template to test everything I was going to do from that point on. And it was really neat because I would have people that would come to me and talk about what they wanted to do or they're afraid of doing or whatever. And I thought, when I'm at my best, I'm helping somebody else be their best. That's when I feel really good. And that's where trails came from. I had never had a driving ambition to create a program for kids or anything. But when I started to see the issues that were out there and thought I had some answers. And because Jimmy, who I started it with, neither of us had any experience in this area. So we weren't stuck by some old ritual that had to be done. And we're both, somebody called me the maverick. We started to say, let's just look at the problem and figure out what it is. One of the first issues was everything is funded by government. And I said, don't want the government anywhere near it. So we're going to neither seek nor accept any government money. And then we started to make some kind of principles like that, which were really good and we stuck to. So if somebody comes along like Micah or anybody who's been a part of trails or anywhere else and says, hey, you had an impact on my life, that's pretty good. I can't think of much better. I had a big business, made a lot of money. It's nowhere near as good as a kid giving you a hug and saying thank you. So my bliss, I guess, is a hug from a kid.
Hug from a kid. That
kid.
feeds your soul.
That feeds my soul in spades.
Oh wow, that's incredible, and that is really a true, honest definition of success. Is passing it on, and it's love. And isn't that what it all comes down to?
We have a staff member that went to Mel and said, I don't get Hurst. Is this love stuff real? Are these hugs real? And Mel said, where's that coming from? And he grew up in a family that never had a hug, and there was never any love. And he couldn't believe that there could be someone who, it's not passed around anywhere, but when you make a connection with somebody, he said, he comes and gives me a hug and he looks me in the eye and he says he loves me. And he said, I've never seen that before. I never had that from my father. I never had it from my mother. And he said, is it real? And Mel said, well, why don't you go and ask him? And so he did. He came and talked to me. And we had a neat conversation, and I don't know whether I answered his question or not. But it is so natural to me when you find somebody there's a connection with to give a hug. The teacher said, don't touch the kids. You can't hug the kids. And I said, I don't know how to do this if I can't hug the kids. So we're careful. We made some rules about it. But it comes from love, and I'll get kids that'll say, okay, no, I'm not quite ready for that yet. And it'll come back weeks or months or years later and say, could I try just a little one? Sure. And okay, but that's good. That's all I need. I don't need any more. And then another one, and then I walk by somebody now and they'll say, okay, you walked by and didn't give me a hug? I said, there are 40 of you. I can't give you all hugs right now on my way to the bathroom. You have to stop for a second. So, yeah, it is love. It is love, there's no question.
That is the energy.
Yeah.
How many children, how many kids have gone through trails for how many years?
Well, we're in our 29th year now. So we're closing in on 600 kids have completed the program.
Yes, and I've seen the lives change. I've seen them like in the boardrooms of RBC.
Yeah, that's
I've
right.
seen them, and they're still the big kids, and they still come in for the hugs.
It's funny. I mean, it's
Yeah.
when, you know, Jimmy and I used to go around and tell the story of trails, and then somebody said, bring some kids in.
Mm-hmm.
So the first time I took kids to a golf tournament, and I said to the audience, I said, don't be pushing these kids, don't be asking questions. They're going to come, they're going to talk a little bit, or maybe they're not. But here are the kids that we're working with, and here are the kids that you're playing golf for. And the kids came in, probably 6 of them. 4 of the 6 were quite happy to talk. 2 of them just sat there and had no idea what was going on. And for the most part, the golfers were good. They didn't say, you know, what happened to you? Why are you here? Why'd you get into trails or anything like that? They just listened and went on. Which was different than when we started. When we started and nobody knew we existed, the Toronto Star and City TV both wanted to do a story on us. And Jimmy and I went down to the Toronto Star editorial board and we set out some ground rules saying, you know, these are kids and you don't push them. This is not a story for you. If you want to learn what we do, fine. And their first questions about, have you been abused, molested, or anything like that, we got them walked out and said, all right,
Good.
but we're not here for that. That's not what we're going to do. So we haven't gone back and haven't gotten publicity ever since. It was just fine. Thank you very much.
Fantastic, because they always want to look for the underbelly. They always want
the bad stuff.
Always wants to go for the negative
Yeah,
in it.
yeah.
But it's not about that. It's about passing on the joy. And for you, and trails from here on is going to be, who's going to have the reins of trails now?
Mel is.
All right.
We've got a chairman who's a neat guy I've known for years. He was on the board of Trails when we first started, Greg Clark. And I got him back in a year ago, or less than a year ago. And he's the perfect guy to chair it, to go on. But it's Mel's. Mel and I have talked about it. And I told Mel early on when I realized how good she was, I said, you know, this is a lifetime gig. You're not here for 3 or 4 years. You're here forever. So to plan on that. So she reminds me now that this is a lifetime gig, and she gets it in spades, and it's wonderful. So it's fun.
And she'll have support because you have built and you have fostered and you have, I don't even know, you've given so much strength to so many young people there, and they're all willing to come back, as are the parents.
Yeah.
If she needs any help, we're there.
That's been great. I mean, we started this mentorship program, and the kids are coming back to be mentors, and it's wonderful. And they get a kick out of it.
Yes.
And the young kids, you know, because they don't really know who we are and what's going on when they start. And then they meet Micah or Amanda or Amelia or any of the kids, and they go, so you were once, you know, a little guy like me? Yep. You went through trails?
Yeah.
And now you're doing what? Wow. Okay. That's pretty good. You like that?
Well, Jim, your bliss has saved many souls and has really just fostered so many wonderful relationships throughout the world. Because if it could only be duplicated, and you have all your, I would call them your ambassadors.
Yep. No,
Thank
we
you.
do.
Yes, that is your bliss.
Thanks.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
That's great.
Oh dear. It is. It is the most wonderful thing. I can't believe the response from kids, parents, and donors. I mean, I've had 2 donors come in the last little while. It's hard to raise money. It's very hard. And I've had one who's come in and just made a huge $2 million commitment to trails, and one who said, get Mel to give me a budget for the next 5 years. I will make up any shortfall there is in the budget.
Fantastic.
Wow, that's
Fantastic.
big money.
That's all you need to hear. You know, that they know that they can pass it on. They can do something of substance
Yeah.
with what
Oh,
their
yeah.
success, so-called success.
Well, I mean, they have to go and work and raise money and stuff, but
Sure.
they know they're
Mhm.
secure. They don't
Mhm.
have to panic. And
Well,
that just is wow for me.
Yes, and it's right across the board. Young women, men, black, white,
Yeah.
all the shades in
Yeah.
between. And that's, I'll never forget the wedding, your son's
Oh, yeah.
wedding,
Oh,
when
yeah.
all the kids were upstairs
Rosedale
in the
United
balcony.
Church. Let me tell you a story. I don't want to. Do you remember Hank Van Wielden? Hank and Denise, and they had a little boy named Angus.
Yeah.
They were trusted. He was our first hire,
Mhm.
and Angus was 2,
Mhm.
and his first 4 or 5 years of his life were at Trails. And Hank is from Edmonton. He's a big, tall, blonde, white guy in spades, and Angus was his same as him.
Yeah.
Angus lived at Trails all year round with us in the first years.
Mhm.
And Hank phoned me the other day and he said, "Did you see the photograph of Angus and his fiancée?" I said, "Yeah, Denise sent it to me." He said, "What did you think?" I said, "What do you mean, what did I think?" I said, "I think it's fabulous. I didn't realize Angus was 27 years old. Holy cow." No, he said, "What did you think of his fiancée?" I said, "She looked like a beautiful girl to me." He said, "Did you notice she was black?" I said, "No, I didn't notice she was black." He said, "Neither did we. One of his friends said to him recently, 'Angus, do you know you're marrying a black girl?' And Angus looked at him, almost punched him out, looked at him and said, 'No, I'm marrying the girl I love.'" He said, Angus grew up at Trails. He had no idea there was any difference in anybody.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
so
you.
perfect.
Thank
No,
you.
I'm marrying the girl I love.
Thank you.
Wow.
And that's what we need to spread.
Oh, God, yeah.
It's about love.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter, you don't see this, it's here
Doesn't
that
mean
counts.
anything. And I didn't even notice it looking at the picture. It was just, she's a beautiful girl. She's really nice.
Mhm.
Angus is growing into a tall, handsome guy.
Right.
Cool.
And that's what's happening in and we need more of this
Yeah.
because that's what's happened in the world.
It has
the
to.
world is just separated into the different clans. You're
Yeah.
this, you're that, and you know
Yeah.
what's happening in the
It was,
States.
it was,
Well, thank
it
you.
was such a great story. I just, when you started talking, I thought, I just heard that yesterday. And I went,
Well, good.
Wow.
That's what it's about.
That's
Thank
cool.
you. Thank you. I'm so glad as my bracelets.
Here are your
make the noise.
bracelets.
Mwah. Thank you. Great.
oh dear.